Welcome to Chapter 9, Data Analysis and Revenue Management. In this chapter, we are going to explore data-driven decision-making process. Let us remember that the information is power, and good information could be obtained from a good data. So as a future manager, you will be making many operational and strategical decisions. In order to do good decisions, you need to be informed well and understanding what information you need, where this information will be coming from, and how will you analyze them and use them to support your decision. That's the partly answered, hopefully, by this chapter. Now, revenue managers employ many data sources to help their decisions. In the past, many managers had issues accessing, storing, and analyzing data, considering the skills and tools required. Now, tools and our managers' skill sets got better over time. For example, we always talk about big data, where size and speed of data could be enormous, and there is also belief that some form of magical thing that this big data will solve many of our problems. In reality, similar to any kind of tool, we need to understand what it is, how to use it. That's what we will talk about hopefully in a few minutes. While in this class we focus on basics and revenue management approach, I highly recommend you to learn more about analytics and how that might help you to be a sought after manager. Now let's start by following the book. We will focus on OPAA approach. This approach explains the steps in data-driven decision making. Now, first, we start by obtaining the data. In order to gather the correct data, first, we need to ask the question, what do I want to know about? As a future managers, you will have access to many valuable data that you can utilize in your decision. In addition, you might need to gather new types of data to answer whatever your question is. Let us have a quick look of possible data sources you might already have, or you might want to collect from. There are many data points already generated in your property, right? For example, data from property management systems, point of sale systems, back of house accounting systems, group sales information, food and beverage information, and housekeeping department and such. Depending on your property and how data generated and stored, this is a valuable information about your revenue, your employees, and your customers. Now, second source of data comes from third-party data suppliers. First, there are many data sources which could be free. I mean, as simple as such as like weather forecasting, right? Or event calendar. Or they might charge a money for their services. There are companies provide this kind of data, whatever you need. And unfortunately, there is no easy answer for what kind of data you might need. What I recommend is a simple return on investment decision. So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you believe that the information you receive will benefit your operation and answer the questions you might have, and assuming the costs justify the benefits, then you might go for it. Once again, it is important to understand what do you want to know about, right? Whatever you collect, whatever data you are planning to get, it doesn't matter free or needs to be spend some money on it, needs to answer your question, needs to support your decision-making process. Now, the last one is called user-generated content or consumer-supplied data. Increase in social networking, video sharing, blogging sites, tweets, etc. This area becomes more important than ever. Think about it. When you want to book a hotel, most likely as a person, you go and read reviews about the property, and most likely that is going to affect your decision to book. As a revenue managers, you don't have any power or control over what is posted, but it is important how to respond and also what kind of information there, right? So it could you, I mean, these kind of things give you very valuable information. What are you doing good, or what might be need to change in your property from people's perspective. Overall, any data, regardless of where it comes from, if it is relevant to your questions, your problem, and help to improve your decision, is a good data. Your job is, considering the large and varying amount of data available, to know sources and types of data available to you. So basically, you need to understand what kind of data is out there, including your property out there, and it could be available to you. You need to also understand basic understanding of what you can or cannot do, and how to utilize those data to help you. Overall, I'm hoping that you are going to be more analytical persons in the future, and you are going to be able to use data available to make a better decisions. Before we continue for the next topic, I wanted to explain what the big data is, because we always talk about, and I'm not sure a lot of people understand. First, from your perspective, it shouldn't matter if the data is called big or not. Many hype words are used in the news media, but regardless of size of the data, if something useful and can help you, you should try to use it. We are going to use 4V's approach to understand the big data, following the book. Sometimes I say following the book because there are different approaches you can see in out there, like such as extended 7V's instead of 4V's we are discussing today. But I wanna be sure that I follow the book, so you can also follow from the book. Now, the first one is volume, meaning size is very large. That means that traditional tools and methods might not be enough to work on it. There is no definite answer, but we are talking about a data so large, regular personal computer might not be able to handle, for example. Second thing is called variety, and the name, as the name implies, is considers the many different kind of data points. It could be a combination of text, video, geolocation. For example, like in geolocation, where you can see where are they connecting to your web page from using their IP addresses, all kind of different data. That's what the variety comes from. Now, third one is what we call the velocity. That is the speed of the data generated. Think about it for a minute. Now, in that minute you were talking about, there was an average more than 40 million messages shared in WhatsApp, over 400,000 hours of video watched on Netflix, 350,000 stories posted on Instagram, 150,000 messages shared on Facebook, and more than 100,000 search on Google per second. I think you understand the point. And so velocity, or the data generated, is non-stop. People writing about your property, your employees working, a lot of information getting in the system. So that is one of the V's we are talking about, the big data. Now, last thing we need to be familiar is veracity. So there are uncertainties surrounding the trustworthiness and accuracy of available data, because as we don't, many of the things we don't have any control over. So there are always uncertainty if it's trustworthy, and especially you are hearing about the problem news and other things, like some companies using services to write bad review about the other companies, etc. While it's not legal, but is always is a issue. Now, the second step in the OPPA approach is the processing. Now, processing data is important because while getting data is important, if the data you gathered is not properly formatted, you cannot really analyze and get value from it. The simplistic approach will be that transactional data is most of the data we encounter, like every day, such as credit card transaction, guest information, individual, etc. So it incorporates single process such as room reservation or folio posting or debit posting or accounting, etc. Now, analytical data, on the other hand, that the data is organized and recorded depending on your goal, your issue you want to solve, and such. So we take the raw data and organize into analytical data format so we can start to analyze them. So that's what the process part is. Now, analyzing data starts with the which type of data analysis is I need to do in order to get insight from data. It could involve some basic statistical tools such as averages, sums, and ratios. And depending on the needs, it could go all the way to more advanced methods such as regression or semantic analysis or machine learning techniques. It depends on your skills and your need. But like once again, return on investment, right? If you think you're going to gather very valuable data, it's going to help you, that you might even hire maybe professionals to do this kind of things. Overall, at basic level, I highly recommend you to create your own key performance indicators or KPIs to measure how effective your company is. Some could be provided to you by third-party companies such as STR's reports, right? Smith Travel's reports. You could also do others such as net ADR yield for each distribution channels or break-even points, etc. Now, analytics, or more specifically, data analytics, is using statistics to discover meaningful patterns in the data, interpretation of results, so you understand what exactly means that data gives you, and you can communicate to people without analytical backgrounds. So you need to learn where to get the data, what kind of data, the little bit about the statistics, so you can discover the meaningful patterns. Then your skills and your insights to interpret that whatever the result is. Then hopefully you're gonna understand what that means, and also you will have a good skills, that because even if you have that skills, you need to communicate to people like your general manager or your corporate level executives, that people without analytical backgrounds understand what that means. Now, finally, we collected the data, we processed it, meaning we cleaned, tagged, and summarized for analysis. And after doing analysis, we add our own insights. This is the part you are using data analysis, combining with your insights to improve your decision. Then when you made a decision or found a solution to whatever your problem or issues, you can connect or apply that decision to make changes in your business, improve customer or employee experience, decrease cost, increase profits, and such. So that is the basics of data analysis. Now, before we get into different technologies that impact our industry, I want to emphasize two important issues you have to deal most likely on a daily basis. First one is related to data you have associated to your property. We collect many information from our guests and employees. This could range from simple transactional night stay to employee social security numbers and how much they make, right? The first issue is who owns the data, who has a say on its legitimate use and regulation associated with such data. The regulation part could come from federal, state, local, district, or company property based. You need to understand them well, and you, as a future managers, be sure which steps you taken to prevent unauthorized access to that both internally and externally. Say some internal or external agents access the data such as names, phone numbers, credit card information, passport numbers, etc., and consider what kind of liabilities you will face if you don't do your job well. Second part is a more of a business decision you need to make. Depending on the size of your property, you might want to monitor social media and how are you going to handle the issues. Many of us as customers use social media to check restaurants, hotels, right? To get information about the services, properties, what the people think. So if there are social media outlets mentioning your property, it could be both positive or negative. And if you are not involving in the process and not taking care of issues, you might hurt your business both in short and long term. Let us be sure there will be more and more data out there affecting our businesses. Now, technology also changes, improves, modifies how we do our businesses. Considering this chapter is focusing on data analysis, we need to understand a different kind of technologies that might affect our revenue management efforts. When I say, for example, big data technology, which I mean tools, systems, and software we use to obtain, process, analyze, and apply information, that is not possible to do with traditional data analysis systems. The book categorized them in three categories. The first one is technology that automates. As the name implies, there are some tasks could be automated, especially if those tasks are repetitive. For example, many information related to guests and their payments and their preferences, etc., which needs to be recorded and could be done automatically by modern hotel property management systems and shared with other departments as needed. So there is you don't have to record every aspect and transfer to different departments by yourself. It could be automated. Second category of book uses is technology that innovates, where new innovative technologies offer a new service or product that didn't exist before. This is actually not often happens in our industry, but there are many innovations also coming up. For example, smart door locks, robots, we always talk about, right? Like even it's not something new, but mini refrigerators automatically counts what is taken from the refrigerator and build guest room automatically and more. And last category, technology that analyzes. This is more related to this chapter. For example, Smith Travel Research D-Star reports give many valuable analysis to revenue managers. Many hotels, especially chain hotels, create systems that manager can access to what people say about the property on social media or with their internal surveys. There are also some third-party vendors with this kind of technology helps you to analyze. Idea here is a future manager. You need to be aware of all the arsenal, all the tools available to you. So if you need, you can utilize them and use it to whatever your needs is and become a more successful managers. Now, I developed a class about business analytics for hospitality managers called Hospitality Intelligence and Analytics because in our field, soft skills are extremely important. But if you want to be successful manager, right? You need more tools to be able. That soft skills like service, understanding service is a must. But become a successful manager, you need more tools. So data analytics is such a tool. You should be able to obtain good data. This chapter is focusing on just basics. But when I say good data, I mean that garbage in, garbage out term, meaning your data needs to be right one without any errors, issues, etc. So you should be able to analyze it and understand what the results mean. Majority of the time, you don't need very sophisticated, complex econometric models. You can simply employ Excel-based analysis. Important part is you want something useful and understandable to you, so you can use for better decision making. You should always try to follow new advancements related to you and incorporate them to your work when and if possible. So I highly recommend you to read industry journals, talk with the others in your field. And finally, depending on your property and your position, you should be always on top of the content supplied by your guests or others on social media. You cannot control what people publish, such as videos, pictures, comments about your property, but you can have plans and systems on how are you going to respond. Use it to your advantage if there are issues. Like, for example, there are issues. Fix them. Show that you care and show that you are a professional. Also, you should have a full control on information under your control and understand them, use them. If those guests are guest private information, protect them. Finally, once again, don't go with the hype, but consider the return on investment to utilize new technologies as needed. Once again, thank you for watching these videos.